Hi 5K and 5H, it's Miss Kane. I am here to just do an example from our lesson today. I just made it up myself, so we are going to go through this table. So it says, my directions say use the table. The table shows the amounts of berries required to make 10 different smoothie recipes. Make a line plot to display the data. So as you can see, I have my 10 berries lined up. So my first thing I always have to do is I need to figure out the order from like least to greatest. So obviously they all have different denominators, so I just want to make them all have a common denominator so I can compare. So I see my biggest number here is 8, and I know that they all go into 8. So I'm going to make all of these 8. So I know 3/4. If I'm making 3/4 into 8, 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. So 3/4 is 6/8. I know that like 1/2 would be 4/8, but if I didn't know, I would just say 2 times what is 8. So 2 times 4 is 8, so 1 times 4 would be 4. 1/8 I can leave because it's already in 1/8. 1/2 I just did is 4/8. 3/4 I've also already done, and I know that's 6/8. 1/2 I've done, and I know that's 4/8. I've not had a 1/4 yet, so I know 1/4 to make my denominator 8. 4 times 2 is 8, so 1 times 2 is 2/8. 3/4 I know is 6/8, and another 3/4 is 6/8, and then 1/4 we just did is 2/8. Okay, so I know my smallest one is 1/8. Okay, so I'm going to write 1/8 here. Sorry. Okay, so I have 1/8 there. My next smallest is going to be 2/8, which is 1/4. So I'm going to write 1/4 down here. My next smallest is going to be, let's see, 4/8, which I'm going to put right here. And then my next smallest is going to be 6/8. Should have actually spread these out a little more, but that's okay. So my smallest is 1/8. So I'm going to say how many 1/8 do I have? If I look through my line plot, all my data, I only have 1/8. So for 1/8, I'm going to put an X on top. Okay, so my next would be 1/4. So I'd say how many 1/4 do I have? And I have 1, 2. So I'm just going to cross these out. So over 1/4, I'm going to put 2. 1, 2. Next would be 4/8. Oops, which is, actually, let me just make that 1/2. Same thing, but I want to use the same number. So 1/2, I have 1, 2, 3. So for 1/2, I'm going to write 1, 2, 3 X's. And then for 6/8, which is, let me make that into 3/4, which is actually 3/4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I always check off that I use them so I don't accidentally use something twice. Now, the most important thing to do always is I know that I started with 10 berries. There were 10 right in here. I want to make sure that my number of X's adds up to 10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that is my plot. Now I have to answer my questions. What is the most common amount of berries used? My most common would be 3/4 of a cup. Because there's the most, there's 4 of those. How many times as many recipes use 3/4 of a cup as 1/4 of a cup? So 3/4 I have 4, 1/4 I have 2. So it's saying how many times. So I would say, okay, so 2 times what is 3? 2 times what is 4? Because I have 4 here and 2 here. So 2 times 2 is 4. So I would just write 2 times as many. So just make sure every time you have to do this, make sure you always have a title. Make sure that you have all of your values written and make sure you double check to make sure that you have the exact amount that you need.